Welcome everybody. Our last section here is on digestion, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I have for you is just an image which goes through just about everything we're going to talk about. So it begins with the tongue. All our digestion begins with the tongue and the teeth. It's kind of this mechanical digestion that takes place where the food is broken up. Saliva is released. It also, within the saliva are several different kinds of enzymes, one of which is amylase. Amylase is ASE is the last three letters, and ASE often represents the fact that they're enzymes, and enzymes are proteins. So hopefully you kind of see how some of these things are all coming together full circle. So you have these enzymes or proteins which are helping with these initial breakdown process within the mouth. Of course, the food travels down the esophagus, and then we'll go into the stomach. This is where this food is stored and begins to break down as well. There's a chemical breakdown that occurs. Many of you know about the hydrochloric acid, but there's also a mechanical piece as well. Food will enter the small intestine, which is where carbohydrates are digested completely, although that process does begin in the mouth. The digestion of carbohydrates will happen with various kinds of enzymes which are made by the pancreas. These enzymes are things like sucrase, which will break down sucrose, maltase, which will break down maltose. Remember, maltose is glucose and glucose combined, and other things like lactase, which breaks down lactose, and lactose is glucose and galactose combined. We did not cover galactose as a chemical structure. It is very, very similar to glucose, and often those two end up confusing students. But if you are somebody who is lactose intolerant, who can't eat or drink things with lactose in them, it's because you are lacking the enzyme lactase. Other things, proteins, fats, are absorbed here as well. My suggestion would be to pause and to maybe write down a few of these very quick summaries of what's going on. To move on and cover these things in a little more detail, again, you can pause this anytime. The process begins in the mouth, chewing saliva, continues into the stomach and small intestine. Again, we're talking specifically about carbohydrates, and these carbohydrates can be glucose, fructose, or galactose. Again, galactose is not something we covered, but it's very, very similar to glucose. And then these enzymes that are used, sucrase, maltase, and lactase. These carbohydrates are then absorbed from the small intestine into the bloodstream, where they're all converted to glucose, no matter what they are, and then the liver is going to release the glucose into the bloodstream. The proteins then are, the process again begins in the mouth, chewing and saliva, continues into the stomach and the small intestines. Pepsin is an enzyme which is used to help with this digestion, and then some other enzymes will promote the digestion in the small intestine. There are two kinds of amino acids that you should be aware of. There are some essentials and non-essentials. The essential amino acids are the ones that you get from an outside source, or in other words, you have to get them from your diet. The non-essentials are the ones that your body is going to produce or make, and we'll be talking a lot about protein synthesis in semester 2. Essentials are provided by the diet, non-essentials produced by the body. This takes to the last one, which is fats. And fats, again, begins in the mouth, continues with an enzyme called lipase, which happens within the stomach. And then bile is released into the small intestine, which causes the fat to form into smaller droplets, which makes it easier to digest. The overall process, in general, digestion, mouth, stomach, small intestine. Saliva contains enzymes, one of them which is amylase. The liver, bile is released into intestines, which helps break down fats. The small intestines, this is where absorption of the nutrients occurs, whether it's carbohydrates, proteins, or fats. Enzymes from the pancreas are dumped here, and we mentioned that in the very beginning. And the stomach breakdowns proteins, helps begin the process. And then the pancreas, as mentioned here, releases enzymes, which helps break down carbohydrates, and then we mentioned some of these enzymes. That's it. I know it was fast, but again, you can pause and rewind if you need to review further. Thanks.